We're here to fuel your mind, body, and soul with goodness. We will connect, open up, share, be real, be raw, overcome, let go, learn, and grow together to simply live a happy life. Remember, sharing is caring, and we are not alone. And today's
All right, Crissy, I think you're there, right?
I am
all
here.
Right. It's all good.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry about the technical difficulties.
These things happen.
We're a little spicy out in New Mexico.
Oh, my. I want to hear more about that.
Yes, yes. Oh, well, thank you. And remember, sharing is caring, and we are not alone. And today's segment is going to be Courage to Change and is the courage to heal. So that is our message today for the Chill and Heal show. And I'm so excited to announce my special guest, who is a rock star to me, but she's a real radio show host from Off the Cuff in New Mexico, and one of the largest talk radio platforms in New Mexico, with a vision to give New Mexicans a chance for their voice to be heard. Welcome, Dinah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, I'm so grateful. We've been wanting to do this for a little while.
For a
little bit. And I just want to share a little bit about how I met Dinah. I met you at your Off the Cuff block party.
Yes.
Can you share what that is?
So I started these Off the Cuff block parties in part to promote the radio program, but it ended up being a fantastic event, and people that ordinarily couldn't afford mainstream advertising or marketing got an opportunity to highlight their nonprofits or their business or their cause. And in return, I just keep on winning because look who I met.
Oh my gosh, I love you. And so our audience with Mike and everyone is in New England.
Right.
And it's just so awesome to be able to share. And
so shout out to New England.
Yes.
From New Mexico.
We love you, New England.
Love you.
So trying to think, but you were actually featured in the Boston Globe too, right?
I was.
Which is really interesting. I get so excited with my guests. Mm-hmm. I just want to jump right in, but can you tell me a little bit about who you are and your background?
So my background, I'm a lifelong New Mexican, and I got sort of pulled into this political atmosphere, if you will. Most of it cruel and unusual, but I wouldn't have changed it for the world. And so I'm a walkaway Democrat. And if you know anything about the political landscape in New Mexico, you know that you're born Democrat and you're baptized Catholic.
And that's it.
No matter what.
And you live it.
And I live it.
And whether it's really
real. Right.
Which we can dive into that a little bit later.
Absolutely.
And then you were featured in the Boston Globe.
And then I was featured in the Boston Globe because I corrected. I don't like to say I changed, but I corrected my party affiliation. Yeah. So I was one of 101 candidates recruited by the Republican Party to run for office. Yeah. And I ran for office in District 10, which is like the South Valley of Albuquerque, and a place where no woman or no Republican had ever even attempted to run.
And what did you run on? When I say that to a candidate, I remember asking someone who said, "Oh yeah, I'm running for state rep." And I said, "Oh, well, what are you running on?" And he said to me, "Well, I don't know. No one's told me." And I was like, "What?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh." I'm like, Let me tell you what I would run on.
Right.
And so can you share?
So I ran on a platform of building a culture of life in the spirit of faith, family, freedom, meaning God Almighty, freedom as an American freedom, and all-American woman running in the South Valley, and it had never been done.
Freedom to be you, freedom to be me.
Right.
Live by the Constitution, respect everyone.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
Yeah.
And then you, oh my gosh. I mean, there's so many different ways. I want to talk about the uncomfortableness of your transformation.
Right.
Because I'm sure
it was brutal.
You're born Democrat, born Catholic. Mm-hmm. You love God. Mm-hmm. There's so much going on there.
Right.
So, all right. So let's go back to your Off the Cuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love this woman. She is my woman. I'm like, oh my gosh, you are up there and advocating for freedom. And this has been a tough 2 years
Right.
that we've been going through,
especially here.
Masked up, forced vaccines. You want to share the difference?
Yeah. So in New Mexico, it seemed like it was almost deliberate that all of these small businesses were shut down. It seemed like a complete hypocrisy, if you will, because big box stores were allowed to stay open, but mom and pop, local business, they suffered the most. And then with all of the benefits that the government was doling out, it basically had people competing with more money than what they were earning, which was a complete disservice to New Mexico, because now everybody's hiring. And it wasn't for the $15 an hour that they were demanding at the drive-through, because they're still hiring. For $15 an hour.
For $15 an hour.
Right.
Man. So, we have a mutual friend.
Yes.
That we both love. I met Pastor Washington probably a couple weeks before I had met you, and he was at your off the cuff event.
Right.
Actually, you've had several, so I've been to a couple of your off the cuff, which is just unbelievable. People just getting out and standing up for their rights.
Standing up. And then also it creates an environment where it's like non-hostile. I hate to say safe space, because I think there's too many safe spaces. And in America, it's just America. You have the Constitution and freedom of speech. I'm big on freedom of speech. You may not like what I have to say, and I may not like what you have to say, and there might be consequences for that, but I don't believe in censorship. So this gives people an opportunity to talk to, for instance, for example, homeschoolers, because the education system here in New Mexico is just, we're at the bottom of the barrel. We're dead last in the entire nation. Sometimes I say the public education system is too big here in New Mexico. They have these 2 ivory towers called the Albuquerque public school systems. And if I had a child that was in that age category going to school, I would yank them out. I would not send my child to public school, because they don't stand a chance at surviving through the critical race theory, the extreme sexual content that they're teaching, and then the transgenderism.
Man. And to me, we should just be talking about reading, math, social studies, science, back to the basics.
And if you can read, if you can read and write and manage your own checkbook and have financial literacy, then that's all you need.
We did as kids.
Right.
And then we played after school.
I'm
all about no homework after school. Kids should play.
Absolutely.
And I've met at some of your round tables, I've met some amazing women that took their kids, are homeschooling and doing a remarkable job, and their kids are testing higher than what they would be in schools.
Because homeschooling gives a child and the parent an opportunity just to expand. And it's just like the spirit running through them. So so there's no end in sight to how high you could rise.
I love that.
It's a real thing.
It is a real thing. And for me, I've always been like, listen, I'm a hairdresser. I'm like, I could never train. I could never. Oh my God, I love your hair. But I always felt like, oh my God, I could never homeschool. But if my girls were younger, I would absolutely homeschool.
Absolutely.
And the people that you surround yourself with encouraged me. So I want to encourage other people.
Right.
And there are people that you can connect people with to help learn how to, because it's really not that complicated.
It's not that complicated.
And sometimes when you're not in that field, because I'm like, oh gosh, I put nurses and teachers on a pedestal because, there's a lot to that. And I'm like, I could never do that. But if you break something down and you take, masterful teachers and break it down into life skills and teach them how to teach, that's it. Sometimes it's just talking about what we're doing.
Right. And creating boundaries, because children love boundaries. Otherwise, what's spoiled cannot ever be unspoiled. And then you would have done your children a disservice.
Yeah. And I think that it happens. We want our kids happy and we give them a lot and too much
and not
expect enough from them. Yeah, I think we're all kind of guilty in some way.
And then with social media, you know, it creates or not social media, but just everything online.
Yeah.
Like I have a niece and a nephew, they're twins. They're young. They're like this big. They're 7 years old. And there's, where's my device? Where's my device?
Yeah.
I said, why don't you go outside and play? Well, where's my device? I said, give me those devices before I break them and go outside and make some mud pies. What are you doing? You know, it's like in kindergarten, you had during COVID, kindergartners needed an email address.
Yes.
They needed to log on to Zoom or however they were getting their education. But because of it, parents were able to then overhear what was happening, because then everybody was working from home, or at least a lot of people were, more than usual.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden we got an insight into what was being taught. And it was out of control. It was out of bounds. And for that reason alone, I would advocate for people to homeschool their children.
Yeah. The skills the children should be learning should be coming from the textbooks, you know, back in the days that we went to school.
Right. Yeah, totally.
You know? I mean,
having friends,
not complicating things.
Not complicated, because life isn't complicated.
Yeah. And we're all growing and figuring out who we are and what we're going to do.
Right.
And, you know, yeah.
Instead of asking children what platform they're on, it's like, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yes.
Ask that question to your child over and over again, because it's going to change 1,000 times. But what are you going to be when you grow up without your device?
Yes.
You know, even though it's man against machine, but still we should have some wholesomeness with our children.
Yeah, I totally agree. And we're probably going to talk about that on my next show with, I had a guest who wrote a book, Lovable. And we talked about, Mike and I talked about devices and how addictive they are.
Right.
And how we have to step away.
I lost myself in TikTok.
Oh my
For
gosh.
like 6 hours. I said,
where's your 6 hours go?
I said, I'm never getting that back.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I mean, it just took me, you know, and I said, what is TikTok? In part, I was like just investigating TikTok. Because I wanted to be a TikToker. I said, what's a TikTok? Well, I'm still playing tic-tac-toe because of my age, you know? And what's a hashtag? Looks like a pound sign to me.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it looks like a pound sign to me.
Right. But, you know, but they mean different things. And so I got lost for 6 hours. Didn't get a single chore done for the day. Man. I was going to get in the shower that day. It just never happened. Before you know it, everybody's coming home from work and school. And I said, I got to get dinner. And I just pulled out the vacuum like I'd been cleaning all day.
I get it. It's unreal how it sucks us in, right?
Right.
But there are some things, there are some things that we, trying to think of, that we need for work, but we need to create that balance so we're not overdoing it.
Right. And the courage to give yourself self-care.
Yes.
Because often as women, we carry so much because we can do it. All American woman kind of stuff. But if we're not taking care of ourselves, then the entire house suffers.
And then my head pops off.
And then I start flipping tables, and you don't want to see what that looks like.
And so your nationality is, and were you born in New Mexico?
I was born in New Mexico. I don't know what Hispanic means outside of New Mexico, because it means something very specific in New Mexico, but I'm a Hispano. Born and raised in New Mexico, come from a long line of family members established here before the 13 colonies, and I've always been American. It was later that we were United States of America.
Got it. And so I'm half Spanish and Mexican. So when I came here, but I born and raised in French Jewish home. Love my parents, so grateful. But I wasn't around any Hispanic culture.
Right.
So when I came to New Mexico, I was like,
it's exploding everywhere.
I'm like, oh my God, these are my people.
These are my people. We are exactly what the postcards look like.
I'm spicy.
You're spicy. There's a ristra, which is the chilies, you know, put together to look decorative everywhere. But actually those were hung inside homes, and you would just get the little chili and cut it off. It's called a ristra. I don't know what the translation is in English because it's just always just been called that. But it's basically the bundles of chili, and
they're beautiful.
Yeah, they fall long. I used to make those with my grandmother because they were like useful. You know, you hang them in the kitchen.
They're beautiful and useful.
Yes, there you go.
And then you're spending quality time together.
Right. Long line of family members.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Yes.
All right. So are they all spicy? Because I don't really like spicy.
Well, there's spicy and then there's New Mexico hot. And it's almost like it's addicting. Yeah. Chili is addicting.
It is, but I don't like it too spicy.
Right. And I don't like it.
But I'm spicy enough.
I know. You're too damn spicy. Are we allowed to say damn?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay. All right. So chili hot, New Mexico chili. It's not Colorado chili because, there's a big war going on that's very specific. It's grown here and it's used for all sorts of purposes. But chili hot, there's no on the side, right? In New Mexico, you can't say, oh, give me chili on the side. People will look at you cross-eyed.
Oh, that's why I get cross-eyed.
That's why you get cross-eyed look, because
I want to decide how
it's
spicy.
It's either on the burrito or not at all. So it's on or off. There's no sitting on the fence.
That is too funny. Oh my gosh.
And then the dramatic question is like red or green. And if you want both, you just say Christmas. So you'll see that in everybody will know what you're talking about. You want red or green Christmas. And that means a mixture of both.
And I had no idea what that meant. Right. So the green is what and the red is what? Can we explain that?
So like the red is usually like pureed. Okay. So it's usually more of liquid, whereas green chili is chopped.
Okay.
I mean, it could be mixed into a liquid form, but it's not like Mexican sides, like something that you would get at a taco truck. It's just very unique.
It is delicious.
And a sack of chili is something like $58 these days. Wow. Isn't that outrageous?
How much is it normally?
Well, I mean, it's gone up over the years, but 25 was the highest I remember paying for it.
It's out of control.
It's out of control. And it's right here, like behind your backyard. Big chili field,
Man, we need to start some small businesses.
Seriously.
Get everyone.
Seriously.
Wow. Oh my goodness. All right. So as you were transformed, when did this transformation come into play?
Okay. So what happened was it was the life issue. Yeah. So California, it was all over the news. It made national news. I mean, the world was just talking about California and how they were allowing abortions up to the moment of birth. So that's from like you're about to come through the canal and emerge from your mother's body. That moment right before it was going to be legal to have an abortion, and all successful abortions end with the killing of a child.
Yeah. And I had no idea.
Neither did I.
I had no idea that this was going on. Third trimester. I'm like
full term.
And and that's when I learned about it was coming to New Mexico.
Right.
And hearing you talk about this.
Yeah. So for my campaign, I'd walk around with these replicas of what children look like in wombs, and the average weight, and it felt like a baby and all this
cute little baby.
Right. And so I had one the size of your ears. If you just, put your fingers to the bottom and the tip of your ear, that's like 12 weeks, right? Look, it looks like a human, has 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth, fingers, arms, legs. And then I'd pull out the larger one and I'd be like, but this is later term, or what the left calls later term, but it's full term. Full-term abortion. So when that truth came to light, I was flabbergasted.
So you didn't know either?
I didn't know either. I thought abortion was none of my business. I said, that's between them, and because I believe the narrative that, that women should have a right to have an abortion for the extreme cases. Yeah. Because I was always taught they were extreme, rare cases of sexual molestation or rape.
Yeah.
And come to find out, it's less than 1% of abortions are because of those reasons. It's actually for any reason whatsoever, on demand, and paid for by the state of New Mexico.
And New Mexico is the leading state in third trimester abortions.
Yes. So when
Which
I was telling people,
I just can't,
it's wild.
I can't even,
Mhm.
I have no words. It just cripples me. And I
It's
had
wild.
no idea. And
Yeah.
the passion that you have to
Because it astounded
bring
me.
awareness,
Right.
and to let people know there are options.
Mhm.
There are special, they're going to be doing special drop boxes
Mhm.
where if you can't take care of your baby, you will be safe and your baby will be safe.
Mhm.
And you can go to the
Like fire department,
departments,
a police,
exactly.
a church, or a hospital, or something like this. There's some criteria, but
and there are organizations that will help you,
right,
you know,
totally,
have
totally.
other options
Right.
besides that one option that you think that you're in a crisis mode. You don't know what to do. First of all, we've all gone through so much trauma these past 2 years. It's just too much for all of us.
It's too much.
And you never know when you're going to have a breaking point. And, you know, can you share some of those places? I know I met some of your amazing friends.
Right. So
that can help people.
Right, totally. So Abortion Free New Mexico, they released a report that's, you know, by numbers, New Mexico leads the nation in late-term abortions per capita. All right, we're one of the bluest states. So we have 3 or 4 abortion centers just in Albuquerque. So Albuquerque is definitely ground zero. New Mexico is ground zero for the abortion movement, or, you know, the life movement. So I say pro-life and they're pro-death because they're advocating for death, whereas I advocate for life. So there's another organization called Options Beyond Adoption. So what they do is they give you the 4th option. They have guardians that will step in until mom is at a place to either be a mom or make a proper decision about her child without handing it over to a family member who's then going to have the child call it mom or something like this, because that's an uncomfortable truth in New Mexico also, is that sometimes your mom is really your auntie. Sometimes your mom is really your grandmother. Right. And then so family members don't want to give their baby so that they have absolutely no input in their life, or maybe they're incarcerated, something like this. There's CareNet of Albuquerque who helps the entire family, including dad. And so they just aid families so they can be the best family they can be. So forever I had heard, along with it's only the rare exceptions that abortion happens, is that there are no organizations that help mothers in these types of situations. But the reality is, even if you have an abortion, it's trauma.
It is trauma.
So if you think being pregnant was your biggest problem, I've interviewed women because I'm a boots on the ground kind of person. I pray outside of these abortion clinics. I record what goes on there in their parking lot, and it's astounding. I mean, there's so many cars in and out, a lot of them with Texas license plates, Arizona, Colorado, actually all around the world, because we are a destination. So people fly here, people come here, migrate here just to have an abortion. And meanwhile, children are dying. And you know, it's like, it's just a blob of cells, follow the science. Like, that argument we can't use that argument anymore. It's like calling the Milky Way a cluster of stars or something of the sort, So my body, my choice, there's 2 bodies in there. We've already established that. There's 2 bodies in there. And so it's ground zero in New Mexico. It's going to happen here in New Mexico.
All right, sorry to interrupt here, Crissy. It is time for a quick break, so you guys can take.
Okay, and you know what? Oh goodness, I guess we'll have one of the chill girls maybe talk a little bit later. Thanks, Mike.
All right, we'll take a quick break and come right back to Crissy. This is Chill and Heal on 99.9 and AM 1370 WFEA.
Come chill, Manchester's a war-winning day spot. Just chill. Come spend a day at Chill. Escape the stress of your everyday life. It's good for the mind, body and soul. A boutique spa with all the luxury of a resort. Look chill, feel chill, be chill. Then talented staff make it fabulous. From couples massage to facials, spray tanning and hair design. We got so much more. Come chill. Manchester's award-winning day spa. Just chill. Come spend a day at Chill.
Online at chillspa.com. More than ever before, it's important to take care of your well-being and fuel your mind, body, and soul with goodness. Tune in Wednesdays at 9 a.m. for Chill and Heal with Chill Spa owner Crissy Cantor, the Chill Girls, and special guests sharing experiences and expert advice on how to keep it simple. Just chill and live a happy life. They'll dive into a variety of topics, from mental health and anxiety to nutrition, self-care, and tips on how to look and feel good every day. Chill and Heal, Wednesdays at 9 a.m. on 99.9 and AM 1370 WFEA. We get busy with our day-to-day lives. Chill Spa wants to remind you to take time for you. Making clients look and feel their best is their mission. Chill Spa is here to treat your body, calm your mind, and soothe your soul. Chill specializes in luxurious facials, face and body skin tightening, and cellulite solutions, skin and body contouring, makeup, hair, and nail care, spray tanning, and more. Book your chill time today. 1224 Hanover Street in Manchester. Online at chillspa.com. Chillspa.com.
Now, back to Chill and Heal on 99.9 and AM 1370 WFEA.
Back to you, Crissy. I tried to get a hold of Caitlin during the break, but no answer. So if there's anybody else you want me to call, just shoot me a text, and I'll take care of it while you guys are chatting.
We love you, Mike. Thank you so much.
Right back at you both. Sure.
Thank you. So, all right. This has been a heavy subject because we have both. When did you hear about that first?
2016, 2017.
Okay.
And so when I was discussing it, it was sort of like the Republican chairman of New Mexico said, we've been doing that in New Mexico the last 15 years. And I just wanted to throw up, and I said, oh my God, you're kidding me. Who's allowing all of this stuff to happen? So for the first time, I question, what does it mean to be a Democrat? What do they advocate for, and who do they advocate for?
And do you agree that there's so many of us that don't even know what's really going on?
Absolutely.
Because when I had a conversation, someone was really upset with Governor Sununu in New Hampshire because someone was saying, oh, he's trying to get rid of abortion. And they were like really upset. And I'm like, I read that bill because I was getting slammed on, I'd heard this woman on the radio who she slammed me before, and she's up in arms about, oh my God, he's taking away our rights, and she's freaking out. And I'm going, what is this bill? I got to find out what this bill is. Sounds like we're like going back into like jails or something, the way she was acting. And I was like,
back alleys,
what's going on? And come to find out, he was going to be signing a bill for 24 weeks. So no abortions after 24 weeks. And so when I read that, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm telling my friends, and there was two friends in particular, wonderful, amazing women, concerned, you know, and they're like, I said, do you know what that bill really says? It's 24 weeks. 24 weeks is 6 months.
I was just going to say.
That is a baby. That is a baby in your belly.
Your belly's like this.
Yes. This, you know, and they're like, well, pregnant. I'm not for that. Immediately they were, I'm not for that. Right. I said, that's where it's so important to know our facts. But what happens is they, my gosh, they kind of, I don't know who's they.
Right.
And they don't really tell us the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Right.
We just want to know the facts. What are the facts? Don't fluff anything. Don't hide anything. This way we can make informed decisions on what we think is best for our states and our countries.
Right. And ourselves. And so if we're going to be advocating for the rights of women, then we should be informing these women that, because I believe in choice.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, choice.
Or at the end of the day, to
wear a mask or not wear a mask.
Your choice.
To get a vaccine or not get a vaccine. Nothing should be pushed on any of us. And what is it, you know?
Right. So if we look at choice, like I even feel God Almighty is about choice, because he clearly says, choose life, because that will give you abundance. That life is it's very precious, and it's a gift from God. Yeah. So if we're going to advocate for the rights of women, then we should keep in mind that, in particular in New Mexico, that when we're saying, oh, you have the right to have an abortion, that as young as 13-year-olds, girls, can have an abortion without their parents' consent, let alone notification. That means that the public school system will not send you the text on your phone that says, look, your daughter was not in school today. So essentially, her abuser could be taking her for an abortion. And what kind of trauma and abortion hurts women. So I believe that women should be informed about what it is that they're doing.
Yeah, I totally agree. And isn't it true that when you at school, you have to sign off that they can take Tylenol?
Right.
And Advil. But they can take your child to have an abortion. Without your knowledge. So these are the things that are so disturbing and outrageous, and breaks my heart, because, as parents, we're there to protect our children, and it's hard, but the line of communication needs to be there so we can protect them.
Right.
And how do we know that that's the right doctor? How do we know that that's the right choice? And what is going on? Did someone take advantage of our child?
Right. Because time and time again, we know another uncomfortable truth is family members molesting their family members. That's a real thing.
Yes.
And it's prevalent in New Mexico. There's also the truth that it could be somebody outside, because they got the devices all day. It could have been somebody older than them. It could have been a coach. It could have been somebody who was in charge of your child. It could have been a parent or your child's friend's father or brother. Abuse. This is hiding abuse. And we know that New Mexico doesn't protect children in that fashion, because we have the Jeffrey Epstein Ranch called the Zorro in New Mexico.
And I don't even understand how that has not been blown up out here. When it
hasn't even been rated.
When we were in the lockdown, at the beginning of the lockdown, I was like, you know what? I was living by myself, and my spa helped me stay sane, because I would go next door, work, even though we were closed. And I'm like, okay, I have to dive into some of these things that are uncomfortable. And we talked about this uncomfortable truths. I'm like, I've got to know what is going on. And I watched the full Epstein things, and I'm like, oh my God, this has been going on for years, and they've allowed this to go on for years, and people have been covering this up and allowing this, and this is unacceptable. And then to find out when I came here that he had a ranch here.
Yeah, called El Zorro, which means fox. It translates to fox. So like he outfoxed everybody, I mean, it's all like truth in advertising, right? It's like, oh, what does the sign read?
Yeah.
El Zorro.
It's unbelievable. So I watched that, and even though I didn't want to watch it, but I'm like, I needed to know what was going on. And then the other one was Unplanned.
Unplanned was wild.
Oh my God. Can you share about that? Everyone should see that, because it's just eye-opening, and it's just eye-opening.
It's just amazing. So
it's a business.
It's a business. It's an industry, and it seems on the surface sometimes that it's like nonprofit, or they're just there to help women. But look at all of their advertising. Look at all of their marketing. Every single women's march in the nation was hijacked by Planned Parenthood. And they had the pink hats on top of their head. It was supposed to be something else. Imagine if men would have done that. If men would have wore a hat and had their parts on top of their... So now we have other men that were supporting the women's march wearing the pea hat, right? Mocking women. And I'm like, I think that's in the wrong spot. So it's like this attack on women, attack on our womanhood, attack on the fact that women, I don't care what you change your parts to, are the only ones that can give birth, because we're the only ones that could produce milk, period.
And you know what? I just, I haven't finished it up, but What is a Woman is on.
I want you to see this.
Okay. You have to
this
see
is
it.
going to be my topic on Friday. What is a woman?
It's
phenomenal.
It's a must watch. What is a Woman? And it's on, we'll find that out in a second. but everyone has got to watch this because it really makes you go, things that make you go, that's when we need to slow down and find out what the facts are. Instead of like, when you think, because you used to advocate on the other side and they used to created emotion and then you didn't really know what you were.
Yeah. Like all of a sudden I'm there in solidarity because somebody showed up to, this, or, I protested, for example, police shootings, because I saw a police shooting where somebody was shot in the back from like 50 yards away. I wasn't out there protesting to defund police, but essentially the protest with the family that seemed, what I saw on video was questionable. And at the end of the day, as citizens, we have the right to question, or protest, our rights. Yeah, our rights are not subject to approval or disapproval. They just exist. But at the end of the day, after putting down the sign, I was like, hello, police department. What can we do to get involved and see what happens so this never happens again? But the left was there running a name sheet, right? Because they want everybody on their email list. And then they want you to hold their signs, and they're usually the big yellow ones, and they say whatever.com, but it all goes back to one main source. They're communist organization, they're socialist organizations using the trappings of racism, police brutality, and all of these other things, open borders, in the guise of the real issues that are taking place within communities. They don't care about me. They don't care about you. And they don't care about your mom and dad, your kids, or your neighbors. In fact, they're bad neighbors, because what they want is to deconstruct, to build back better, right? To build back better is to take away everything you've been taught about faith, family, freedom. Because I've only flown the one flag. Actually, in New Mexico, we have flown two. One was the Confederate as Hispanics, and the other was the United States of America. Period. That's it. Even if we have roots to Spain, or even if we have no Spain left in us, because that's probably the reality for most of us. So they use these trappings to try to convince people that, oh, we're here for anti-police brutality, but really they're like defund police.
Yeah, and that hasn't worked. And defunding the police has not worked, because there's more crime in Albuquerque, which is right there, than Rio Rancho. In Rio Rancho, there's more cops on the ground. And my goodness, all levels of crime have gone down in Sandoval County compared to Albuquerque, which is run
unrecognizable.
How many murders a day?
A ton.
And it's just like Manchester to Hooksett, where I have a home in Manchester and Hooksett. That's how close Albuquerque and Rio Rancho are.
Okay.
So we need leadership that is going to be straight up and not defund the police, but hold people accountable. If there's bad cops, they need to go through the process.
Totally. And I think most people would agree with that. But then we look like defund the police. I'm like, we can't even get police to respond now because we have a homeless problem that's completely out of control. And it's been encouraged. So now they're using public funds, which is really taxpayer funds. So they're using our money that we've originally voted on to allocate money for parks, for recreation, for things that are going to make the public happy. Now they're being turned into camps with the fence around. It's like the jungle. I was driving up Central Boulevard. It's sort of like Route 66. In Albuquerque, we have the longest mother road still intact of Route 66. And I think we have something like 13 miles or something of the original road. 26 miles of neon light. I wish.
Cool.
So cool.
Right? Oh my God, so cool.
So I'm just driving. I'm just cruising the boulevard, if you will, and chasing a sunset because I do that for fun.
That's what I do.
I love chasing sunsets.
Forey J. Smith from Yellowstone, that's what he does.
Really?
He loves his sunsets.
I love sunsets.
Oh my God.
Which way do you look at the sunset? I've always looked at them backwards because of our mountains, the Sandia Mountains.
You know what? I think I guess it depends.
Right.
I'm not really sure. I'm gonna have to think about that.
So anyways, that's another New Mexico thing. I'm like, do you watch them forward as it's setting or the reflection of the sunset?
Yeah.
I always watch the reflection.
the sandias just glow.
Right. Sandias, which means watermelon in English.
It does.
It does. And so, sorry, I forgot where I was at. I get so excited when I'm around you because we always have 1,000 things to say. I know, right? How long is the show? We're going to need 2 hours.
Oh my gosh, I know. We have another like 13 minutes.
Okay, awesome.
So, oh my God, there's been so much. So we have both been. Yes, go ahead.
So I'm cruising the boulevard.
Yes.
And there's all these homeless people at these bus stops. And I go, what is in their mouth? Because like I kind of saw something, but I'm like, keep driving. So well, let me look at the next bus stop. So all these people have straws in their mouths. And they're just like bouncing up and down. If you could imagine a straw in somebody's mouth bouncing up and down, I go, what are they doing? So I pull up like this, red light, I stop, and I'm looking over, and I'm really looking like I'm like investigating I'm being observant. And they have these bouncing straws, like 20 of them. And then somebody has a piece of foil, big torch underneath, and this big puff of smoke. And then all the straws go in, and they're
holy. What?
And I was like, what is happening in Albuquerque, and what happened to this city? Because I remember Albuquerque to be different. It's this fentanyl that's coming in by way of the U.S.-Mexico border, because we're a bordering state to an international
and
border.
The borders are open.
And the borders are open.
And fentanyl kills.
And fentanyl kills because it contains all 4 components, right? So like OxyContin, for instance, has 2 components, right?
Okay.
And like morphine, sort of like the common, denominator. Heroin, only the 2 components. But fentanyl has all 4, and it's manufactured. This is why there's so many overdoses that happen in New Mexico, because the drug itself is unstable. And the moment they went, all these people fighting for smoke in the air, it was, and then like all the smoke just went into the straws. And I was like, what did I just see? Like, I'm kind of freaked out. So I feel
like, is this reality? Am I in a nightmare?
Is this real? Is this our truth?
Yes.
Is this what I'm really looking at right here, right now? Because I'm about building a culture of life. And that means not smoking fentanyl at bus stops. So I flip a U-turn, because, it's Albuquerque. Everyone's flipping U-turns. I flip another U-turn and come back up. And I'm looking at this. And now I'm looking at the same bus stop again. And everyone just sort of nodded off.
Oh,
like they've just checked out.
I've seen that.
They've just checked out. And I had never seen anything so disturbed. I mean, I guess I have, but I guess there's no end in sight as to what is disturbing.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's sad. It's like, right. Usually it's like, oh, people are doing it behind closed doors, but that's not the case anymore.
Right.
It is,
it's out in the open.
It's right
people
out in the open.
Up, they're
and so how can we help?
I don't know. I think that a great revival has to happen, but I think it needs to start within ourselves.
I agree. And awakening and seeing this instead of just walking down the street and ignoring it. And I always say, join, volunteer, do something that makes you happy and fulfills and builds up your community.
Absolutely. So it's like it should start in the home.
Yeah.
May the house that is always clean be the home to the ones in need. May the dirt on the soles of your boots make a track of the goodwill you leave. You have to start in your own home. Otherwise, you're advocating for somebody else's problems, and then your own home will suffer. Yeah. Unless you have a strong home, strong self, then it's not going to happen for your neighbor, because you cannot advocate for somebody else who's not willing to advocate for themselves. And so I used to think, like, because I'm a boots on the ground kind of person.
Oh yeah, right? I saw you. You were like rock star up there on the stage. I'm like, you are awesome.
That's so fun. I didn't know you guys stayed till the end, but
I watched you to the end.
I'm blushing.
Yeah, you were.
I'm blushing.
The way you share, the way. Well, first of all, I was like, oh my gosh, I was shocked. I went to tears. I'm like, I didn't even know this was going on.
Me neither.
And then I'm like, all right, I want to help. Right. And then I've met a couple of your friends that are, helping so many people. And what is their, oh my God, is it Tara?
Tara Shaver.
Yeah.
She was recently on InfoWars. And this is an organization, I met Bud and Tara initially, because I would scream at them from the car. They are a testament. I am a testament to their advocacy on the sidewalk, because they have this sort of prayer thing that happens outside of the abortion centers, and no sidewalk without a savior. Because sometimes maybe that could be the one thing that connects a woman from walking in there. It's like, don't walk in there. Don't walk in there. They're killing children. Come this way. Don't go in there. So I would be like, what are these crazy people doing? Yeah. They should leave them poor women alone. Because I still believe the narrative of rape and incest.
Yeah.
That was the only reason why people were, killing their children. And then fast forward a few years later, when I was running for office, I met them on the street. They were knocking on doors with their entire family on behalf of Dinah Vargas for New Mexico. It blew my mind. I said, what are these people doing in the South Valley? And who are they? Because they're very
Can you explain the South Valley?
Well, I live in the good side of the South Valley, but the South Valley is the other side of the train tracks.
Got it.
But in New Mexico, we call it the other side of the river, just to sum it up, from 50 feet above. Whether it's real or not, whether it's a reflection of reality or truth and lies, this is the concept, this is the idea, this is the mindset of the South Valley, is that it's on the other side of the river.
All right. I want to do a little video segment with you so I can, see where you live, what's the other side of the tracks look like, and how we can help.
Totally. But again, I live in a very beautiful South Valley.
Yeah.
I mean, the river runs through it. I live in the Atrisco Valley or the Atrisco land grant, because in New Mexico, you have Pueblos land grant, established during the second conquest of Don Diego de Vargas, the New World conquistadors coming from Spain. So all this rich history here. So, but Atrisco means the city between two rivers, because back in the day, there was no Google Earth. So you didn't have a 50 feet above view. You just knew you lived between two rivers, but essentially it's the same river. Welcome to New Mexico.
Welcome to New Mexico.
Right.
So I know if they can find you, I want to kind of at least begin to wrap up, because I know we don't have long. If people can find you, how do they find you?
So you can visit me on the web at Off the Cuff, like CUFF, ABQ.com. So it's off the cuff, like meaning unscripted, or off the handcuff, because it's Albuquerque and it could go either way. You could visit me at Dinah Vargas, DINAH, Vargas, VARGAS, on TikTok. I have one little TikTok video up there. Take a look at it. Like it if you want. Like it if you like it. And Facebook at Dinah Vargas, same.
Yeah, and I tagged you on my Facebook as well.
Okay, yes. Yes, so just wherever you're at, I'm at. Because we're friends.
We're friends.
We're friends.
We're friends.
Right. So
we're all American women.
All American woman. This is what the world recognizes of us. All American woman. She looks just like me, and every woman in the world wants to be her. She looks just like you, and every woman in the world wants to be you. This is what the all American woman is. This is what the world recognizes of us. We gave birth to a nation, nourished it with our breast, because we're the only creatures that can. Blessed are thou among women.
My gosh, you are awesome. Oh my gosh. All right. So if to wrap this up, to courageously trying to think for your transformation and everything that you went through, how hard was it? Was it just like ripping back the curtains and going, I'm in and I'm gonna like figure out what the truth is? And
well, it was an idea that even though it was scary or fearful, that there was some truth to what I was hearing, because I'm a boots on the ground kind of person, whether that's investigating it or like looking at it. And so it was difficult. It was a difficult process inside and out, because then I was rejected by every single buddy, because somehow I had changed, even though I say, look, this is what's happening. It's a woman's right to kill her child, but they don't say that. They said, it's my choice. Then why are you throwing rocks at me? Because I choose life. If you're pro-life. And so it's taken a while. And I mean, I've gotten bricks thrown through my windows.
And you're advocating for choice, for other options for these women. You're not just saying, you're not judging them. You're just you're there to pray for
Right.
them and give them other options where
Right.
other people aren't showing the options
Absolutely.
of what we can do.
Right. So like there is a place for each of us and we will all fit in. But we can no longer pretend, no longer act as though we're going to be or behave until we're loyal to a fault, because then our children won't even have the sense of America. They won't even have the mindset to shoot themselves out of socialism, because it's the youth that's supposed to, our fate is in their hands.
So we need to get back to our values.
Yes.
We need to speak up gently, which
Yes.
is so, so important.
Right.
And we can't ignore anymore. We've got to stand up, and it's uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable.
I'm an introvert, so it's uncomfortable. Did you start your radio station because of your passion?
So I lost the election in 2020.
Okay.
All right. And so, but I lost or didn't secure the seat by more votes than anybody had ever been voted in by. So it was a big deal, meaning like I got a ton of vote, but for whatever reason, 5,000 people went out to vote. I was the only one that got up to work and all this stuff. It broke my heart. I didn't know if I was going to burn down the house or build crosses from the wood. I even thought about flying to Africa to be a Lion King. I said, I didn't plan to lose. What am I going to do now?
Yeah.
And I had a short run on radio. I'm fascinated by radio. I love radio. And I said, I'm gonna go get me a radio show.
And that's what
I did.
You are a rock star. Oh my God. You're a crusader. You are an all-American woman. And I'm honored and so grateful. And we'll continue to work together.
Absolutely.
And I want to thank you for your passion and your friendship, your connection. And I've learned so much from you. And we will continue on and keep sharing between our states. And is there one more last thing you want to say?
I just want to say that, how much time do we have?
20 seconds.
We have
20 seconds.
All right. I just want to give a shout out to all the all-American women. We're about faith, family, freedom. And until we win, I'll see you again.
Amen. Live free and chill. God bless America. And we're praying that we all chill and heal together. Love you, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Shout out to children.